So day 5, man, these days are going by fast. Day 5 of the 30-day speaking challenge, and that was my car turning on. Man, this is annoying. I'm doing what I hate people doing on YouTube, recording themselves while they're on the go. But what the heck, this challenge has gotten me doing stupid things like this. Alright, so this is what I do when sitting down in front of a computer is in high demand and exercise is in very short supply. I try to multiply my efforts. So I am going to hike while I do some work. I go off to a place called Sugar Creek Reserve and I get a hike in. And I listen to my Bluetooth headset, and usually out in the woods, the Bluetooth does not misbehave. Whereas everywhere else, it seems to get hijacked by just about every other piece of equipment that's out there that's on the same channel. Not too many people in the woods. Not too much hijacking. So today, I want to go back just a little bit and revisit Miami. Not just a little bit today, but there's plenty more episodes to come about Miami. So, gotta not use the word so. Darn it, David, now I'm thinking about the word so because I saw you mention that. Now you got it in my head. All right, so I'm going to try not to use the word so. Back in Miami, I mentioned a lot of things that we did to hurt ourselves and hurt other people. And just get pranks, getting in trouble, kids. One of the things that we did, and this is just me this time, and it was not, I don't believe it was supposed to be a prank the way it turned out. This was an accidental prank. I was in the backyard by myself, minding my own business for once, and I was digging in the dirt, filling up a whole bunch of dirt into a bucket. I don't remember why. I liked digging in dirt like many kids my age. I think I was 5. And I was really excited about the dirt once it got really full in the bucket. And I decided to show my brother and sister. But they were nowhere to be found. These guys were indoors. And so I decided to take it to them from the outside. I'm going to wait a second here because I don't want to crash, and there's somebody coming on my left here. Excellent, excellent. I'm storytelling while going through traffic, not the most brilliant thing in the world. I think I might have actually heard someone honk at me a second ago. So I walk around the house to see where my brother and sister are, and I do find them inside my room. I'm still on the outside. So I decide to show them the bucket of dirt. I say, hey, you guys want to see a really cool magic show? And they're like, sure, what are you going to show us? I'm like, I've got some magical dirt. And they were intrigued, as was I, because I had no idea what I was about to do. Magical dirt. Let's see, what do I turn magical dirt into? How do I prove the magical qualities of said dirt? And so I decide to throw the dirt at the window. Oh, brilliant. But I say, hey, stand back, because this is going to be so magical that you're not going to believe your eyes. And so they stand back and I throw the dirt. But you know how you pick up a bucket to throw the dirt? Or like you're at a beach and you go to throw dirt out of a bucket? You normally intend for the dirt to come out of the bucket. I mean, that's the whole point. You don't want to throw the bucket. That's kind of stupid. It's heavy. It'll break a window. Oops. And yeah, the whole bucket left my hand. It was so heavy, I couldn't control the velocity and momentum of said bucket. And that bucket traveled through the window, into my room, onto the floor, and left a streak of broken glass and dirt all over. It was a trajectory that went all the way through my room to the front door of my room. My brother and sister are there. They're all freaking out. I was freaking out, but I acted much quicker than they did. I got the hell out of there. I was still in the backyard, but I ran as fast as I could right back to the spot where I had first dug up the dirt. And I kept digging. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to pretend like I'm sitting here and I have no idea what just happened. I didn't hear that sound across the other side of my house because I'm over here digging. So as soon as the noise comes to me, like AKA my mother starts yelling and I find out about this, I'm going to be, well, what's going on? Because I'm here digging in the dirt. So I'm still digging in the dirt. And then all of a sudden, the noise comes to me. My mother is not a happy camper. And she asks us to all come inside and explain ourselves. There's very little I could explain without giving away that I had caused this. So I was like, tongue-tied. I don't know what's going on. And all of a sudden, my brother, I think, starts defending me. This is the part that's very confusing for me because my memory was a little skewed since I was under a lot of duress. I was super stressed out thinking I was about to get it. I was in trouble. And I think I remember pointing to my sister. Either that or my brother pointed at my sister. Either way, my brother was on my side. And we somehow both blamed it on my sister. Oh, Jennifer, I love you. And I'm so sorry. This is ridiculous that this turned out the way it did. But somehow my mother believed this. And to this day, my sister is like, I just don't understand how it is that someone could think that a bucket could be thrown from the inside of the house and break the glass in the trajectory that it went. Apparently, my mom didn't watch enough CSI back then. So, yeah, my sister got a spanking, and my brother and I watched, and it took me about a week to fess up. I was so distraught. I remember sitting on my grandmother's lap in my house a week later. I love my grandma. I told her everything. I confided in her, and I broke down and cried, saying I felt so bad that my sister had gotten such a whooping.
Hi there, it's $1.75 today.
Thank you, appreciate it.
There's that guy for you.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And do you have a phone number with us?
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, the computer doesn't like the cold very much, so it's kind of lagging.
Yeah, I relate. Definitely.
Me too.
Yeah. Never thought I'd feel close to a computer before, but if it feels that way.
Yes, I know.
That's cool.
It's really heart-wrenching. I know.
Yeah, thank
Well,
you.
there you go, and after today you have one more punch until your freebie, okay?
Awesome, appreciate it. Oh, can I have the receipt too?
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks. Thank you much. Have a good one.
You got it.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Happy weekend.
Hey, thank you. You too. Alright, so I just had to get my caffeine fix, but I ran out of storage earlier, which is why you saw the phone turn off. Some old videos I had forgotten to delete. So I think I'd finished saying that I had broken down crying, talking to my grandma. And she had a very soft lap. She absorbed tears quite well. And I talked to her about it, and she told me what I didn't want to hear, which was, if you feel this badly about it, it's probably because you're an... No, I'm just kidding. It's probably because you should say something. You should go ahead and fess up. And so I did. And I believe I got in trouble, but not as badly as the guilt that I felt the week prior. So, alright, so I want to go back to the idea of the fan. I told you a story about some darts in a fan, but it didn't stop there. I do want to share that we had a lot of fun with our ceiling fans growing up. And so I want to redeem my sister now a little bit, because in some of these stories she partook and she didn't get hurt. We just had, there was one where she got hurt, but I won't say that one today. I've got a couple where she actually just enjoyed having fun with us. So, darn it, I said so. I'm a counter up here pretty soon. We had this... We invented a lot of stuff, as I've said before. But on one particular evening, we were having a sleepover in our own room. So we didn't invite anybody. We just had a sleepover. My sister was over and my brother in my room. My brother and I shared the same room. And so my sister lived across the hallway. She came in and we decided to hang out and spend the night on the floor. Sleeping bags, pretending we were camping, but we were still in our house. And lo and behold, up above the sleeping bags was not a nice starlit sky and a moon, but a fan. And we got intrigued by the fact that one of these little strings that was attached to... Ooh, I missed my light. One of these strings that was attached to the sleeping bags and or the socks that we had on. It's difficult for me to remember where the string came from because we ended up using both, I believe, after a while. But there was a little like felty. You ever notice how when you're looking out and you see dust particles in the sun, there's a ray of light and there's like all these little dust particles floating? Yeah. Well, we saw that with the light coming in through the hallway, but we also saw that there was some little floating string. It wasn't just dust, it was a very light, almost like cat hair, floating up to the ceiling because the fan was going in the direction, spinning in the direction that would suck air up. I guess it was summertime, so we were trying to get the heat away instead of blowing it down. I think that's why it was sucking the other direction. And it would suck the little string into the fan and it would disappear. The string would never be seen again. We're like, we noticed that some of these strings were attached to our sleeping bag. And so we peeled a piece off and we let it go. And the stringy went up into the ceiling fan and disappeared again. Wow, these are cool. These are magic stringies. That's what we gave them. That's the label. Magic stringies. And we spent all night long casting magical spells on the fan. I'm such an idiot. I'm hearing myself laugh at this. I'm 42 years old. Why am I laughing at this? It's funny. If these are my kids today, oh my God, would I kick their butts? I mean, the amount of stuff that we caused our parents. So anyway, my brother and sister and I are lying on the floor all night long, letting go of these magic stringies. And the fan is just saying, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Here's another one. Thank you. And it would take them all. And in the morning, the fan was smoking. I laugh not because it's funny, but because of the disbelief at the amount of patience my dad must have had to deal with this. Because I'm a dad, and I fix things when they're broken. And I don't like fixing things when they're broken. Things break too often. Things are always breaking. Then you got to replace these broken things. They cost money. And then you got to stay in the job that you don't want to be working at for longer to pay for these broken things that are not funny. And my dad in the morning, when we tried to explain what had happened, he wasn't impressed. He was like, what magic stringy? And I honestly don't recall how my brother and I, and maybe my sister, tried to explain where these things originated from and why we thought it was a brilliant idea to release them into the wild. So anyways, the fan was smoking and I think my dad had to replace the motor. We did a lot of damage to fans growing up. We would throw stuffed animals at the fan. We would throw all kinds of heavy objects up there. Why? It's this bizarre attraction. You know, you see this thing spinning. You know that when you throw something at it, it's going to immediately ricochet away from the center. The fan doesn't want this. No. So you know as a kid that the moment you throw something up there, the fan's gonna give it back in some unpredictable trajectory, and that's the allure. That's the fun of this. My goodness, where the heck is the next toy gonna go? And there was a time. I mean, the stuffed animals were one thing. We were constantly throwing stuffed animals at it, but there was a time where that became not enough. And this is a lesson I've learned throughout my entire life about a lot of things. Don't be a consumer. Enjoy what you have. Learn when enough is enough, because every time you try to get a little bit more out of life, that more eventually becomes not enough. But I digress. Back to the fan. It wasn't enough to be throwing stuffed animals up there. We had done that. Been there, done that a million times. We needed something heavier, much heavier, something more spectacular. And so in my bedroom, we had a bunk bed, so it was very easy access to the ceiling fan. You didn't have to be on the floor throwing things up at it. You could, take the lazy man approach or lazy woman and climb up to the bunk bed and just, drop things into the fan. So when we were depleted of stuffed animals, I took off the very heavy down blanket from my bed. Oh, God. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful my kids are not like this. I lucked out so badly. But yeah, very heavy blanket got thrown onto the fan, and you couldn't see the fan anymore. And that poor thing was trying to spin, and it couldn't. It gave up. We won. We finally won. The fan finally lost. Oh my goodness. And these things have been just us at home. Ricky wasn't even in this picture. I mean, I can't remember if we learned these things from Ricky. I'm sure his family probably wouldn't want to hear that. But these are things that my brother and sister would do all the time at night. My dad's trying to sleep to go to work the next day. But when I would go over to Ricky's house to sleep over, the fan would definitely, you already heard about the darts, but we would definitely antagonize his fan as well. He had a very large dog. No, stuffed animal, relax. I know I talked about cats earlier, but we didn't throw any animals there, real ones. But he had a very large dog from a carnival. He had won this thing at a carnival. Very, very big. And we were sleeping, I think, you know what? This wasn't even in his bedroom. We slept in his, oh my goodness. And now I remember, we slept in his sister's room because I think that night his parents wanted to clean out his room. It wasn't ready for us or something. And so they had us sleep in her bedroom instead. And it's because he had a bunk bed in his room as well, which I didn't fit in. So his sister had a regular sized bed, a queen or something, and it was nice and flat, and both Ricky and I could fit on this. Oh my goodness. So this was his sister's room. So this stuffed animal that I mentioned earlier, the big dog, we found it, and we decided to turn it into a space shuttle. Actually, it wasn't a space shuttle. I think we were pretending it was one of the Atlas V's because it was a nice rocket booster type shape. Nice, yeah, it looked more like a missile, and we liked that idea. We kept talking about the dog as though it was a missile. And we would, that's right, and we would say we were launching Missile Doogie into outer space. Doogie, the dog. And we would get this dog, and Ricky and I would take turns doing this. We'd wallop it as high as we could, up into the fan. Up into the fan. Well, bah! The fan would kick it out, and it would go and shake a little bit, shimmy, shake. And then it would be the next person's turn. We did this over and over again all night long until the fan tore out of the ceiling. Yeah, how can you... Who's going to want to hire somebody that talks like this? This sounds almost disrespectful. I'm not disrespectful. I'm just reliving and remembering my youth. My goodness, forgive that. Enjoy this. This is good. This is not a bad thing. I'm not going to go to your house and throw apart your ceiling fan. Not today. I don't do that. So relax. This is good. But we took turns doing that all night long until it was hanging by just a single wire. It was shaking back and forth like a piñata hanging from the ceiling on just one wire. And at that point, I remember, for some unknown reason, both Ricky and I celebrated. Because apparently that is what we were trying to do. We were trying to get it to break out of the ceiling. And for whatever reason, as soon as that occurred, we both, at the same time, I remember we were like, yeah! We were excited as heck about this. You know, I'm starting to understand a little more now why it is that some teachers and some adults thought I might need to be medicated. I'm not saying it was the correct choice, but I'm understanding now where maybe some of their thoughts might have gone along those lines. Well, that does it for me. I am here. I am going to hike. I'm going to listen to my speech and relax and enjoy Mother Nature. Peace. Good afternoon, and forgive me. I think that's going to be my tagline.